Alright, this is Weapon Reacts, and we're back with another video, and this is gonna be a review of The Revenant. And I really think that this film right here is one of the most gripping adventure films I have ever seen in my life. And I totally recommend you watch it because it's an experience you will never forget. And it's a powerful story about man versus nature, but at its most spiritual. And I'm just gonna let you know that there will be spoilers in this review. I'm gonna break down the plot of this film, so while exploring the uncharted wilderness in 1823, frontiersman Hugh Glass sustains life-threatening injuries from a brutal bear attack when a member of his hunting team kills his young son, who was the only person in his life he's ever had. And guess what? He leaves him for dead. Glass must utilize his survival skills to find a way back to civilization. Grief-stricken and fueled by vengeance, the legendary fur trapper treks his way through the snowy terrain to track down the man who betrayed him. The opening scene of this movie is just fantastic, and it starts off with Hugh Glass and his group of fur trappers hunting, when they are then ambushed by Native Americans called the Arikara. And then they fight and kill them, and then after that, they finally escape. And this whole scene right here is shot in one unbroken take, almost like you're there with them. And it doesn't hold back with the violence, as it shows you the brutal reality of the world the characters live in. Overall, this is a great scene, and it's a powerful introduction to a film like this. Leonardo DiCaprio's performance as Hugh Glass was just amazing, and this movie right here gave him his first Oscar for Best Actor in a Leading Role, and it shows. And Leonardo DiCaprio does a good job with making his character's journey compelling, as it goes through intense suffering that doesn't just include surviving the wilderness, but dealing with many things like grief, loss, and revenge. Also, Leonardo DiCaprio's dedication to playing this character was just something else. Like him eating raw bison liver, even though he is a vegetarian, and putting himself in freezing cold environments, and all of the things I just mentioned here really adds to his portrayal of a man trying to survive in the environment, and you were not sure if he will live or not. Emmanuel Lubezki's cinematography is some of the best I've ever seen, and I'm just gonna let you know that this whole film uses natural lighting, and it really makes the harsh environment that Hugh Glass tries to survive in extremely immersive. And every frame in this movie totally fits the phrase, every frame a painting. And not just that, it even enhances the tension that this film has. And it creates an atmosphere that's pretty haunting and depressing. The bear scene is probably the best scene in this whole damn movie. And this scene is very intense, pulling you into the struggle between man and nature itself. So it shows Hugh Glass out scouting in the woods, then a bear charges right at him and tackles him to the ground. Then the bear leaves him for a bit after brutally attacking him. And when Hugh Glass tries to get up, it attacks him again. Then Hugh Glass grabs his knife and stabs the bear multiple times, but it just angers the bear even more. And then he reaches for his gun and then shoots the bear, and they both fall off a little hill, with Hugh Glass getting seriously injured. And the fact that there's no music in the scene makes it extremely realistic and even more unsettling. I love this scene because it shows how brutal and unforgiving nature can be, and it all sets up the journey Hugh Glass will go on throughout this whole film. Tom Hardy absolutely killed it as John Fitzgerald, and his character in this film is a complete and total asshole. And Tom Hardy brings a lot of depth to his character, making him more than just a reason for why Hugh Glass goes on his revenge mission. Like how his speech of where he talks to Jim Bridger about his father finding religion. And this scene right here is so subtle but powerful, as it shows you the mindset of this character, and to me, it makes him more than just a villain, but a man that's only trying to do one thing, which is to survive in the harsh environment, no matter what. Also, Tom Hardy was even nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars, and from what I saw in this film, he totally deserves it. Also, I even heard that he based his character off Sergeant Barnes from Platoon, which is another good movie that I totally recommend you check out. I'm going to explain the ending of this film. So, after the Arikara killed John Fitzgerald, Hugh Glass then sees a vision of his dead wife, who smiles at him and walks away. And it finally ends with Hugh Glass staring into the distance as the screen fades to black. And while the scene doesn't show what happens to us next, it can be interpreted as him finally allowing himself to die and reuniting with his wife and son in the afterlife, or him continuing to live on. Also, one of the most interesting things about the ending is that it tells us that he never got his revenge, and it could mean that him killing Fitzgerald will not give him peace to his life, and it really makes this film more than just a revenge film, but a thought-provoking study of it. Also, I have to praise the fight choreography between Hugh Glass and Fitzgerald when they fought, because it is just vicious and gritty, and to me, it is so much better than the safe and soulless action scenes that we see in modern movies nowadays. Nowadays, overall, this is a great ending to a great film, and it's an ending that will stick with you long after it's over. Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu's direction of this film was pretty good, and I really think that this film right here is his best work so far. And he even directed films like Birdman, Babel, 21 Grams, and many more. They are all masterpieces that are definitely worth your time. This is the rating that this film got on Rotten Tomatoes. So, for the critics, it's 78%, and for the audience, it's 84%. And it just shows you how good this film is, and I like that this movie is getting the praise it deserves. This movie has some of the best sound design I have ever seen in a film, as it brings the world the characters live in to life, and it makes it feel unforgiving in a way that's hauntingly beautiful when you look at it. And it's the same way with its soundtrack by Ryuji Sakamoto, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. And it increases the emotional and depressing tone that this film has, along with its atmosphere, and I will show you an example of it right now. Alejandro G. Iñárritu made a masterpiece. Sorry, that was an ad. What does YouTube have to show ads? No, seriously, how can you create a landscape like that in film? It's really hard to do, man. Damn, this movie is so good. I am now gonna get into some of the criticisms about this movie, like how some of the characters don't get a lot of development to them. And here is a good example of this. Domhnall Gleeson as Andrew, and while he did a good job as the character, and that he helped out Hugh Glass near the ending of the film to kill Fitzgerald, it felt like wasted potential for me personally. Will Poulter did a good job in this film, and I think he is extremely underrated as an actor. And while he isn't an important part of the film, his character is very interesting, as he is basically a victim of his own environment. Overall, this film was just a masterpiece, both style and substance. And one thing I liked about this movie was that it felt original. And in a time of remakes and sequels, it's nice having films like this that actually tries to do something with a story that's actually good, which is something we don't get anymore from Hollywood nowadays. And this was before Hollywood decided to go woke. And they think that this bullshit will improve their films. And it won't. It will end up badly. Like, we had films that came out that only focused on pushing identity politics down the audience's throat, and guess what? They all bombed at the box office. That's just reality. Because wokeness doesn't create, it only destroys. Also, I will be doing a review of Mickey 17, which is Bong Joon-ho's newest film, and I heard that it's his worst movie so far. But we'll see when I watch it. Also, this is a movie that I respect because it brings out great performances from everyone involved, and it's definitely worth your time. And if you want a film that is gripping and thought provoking and also beautiful to watch, also, then this is the film for you. Also, anyway, that's all I got for today. Go away now, and always remember, strike back like a weapon against wokeness.